share your screen. I can't hear you if you're talking to me.
Okay, so we are going to try commentating once again. Hopefully, you guys can hear us now. We just had some technical issues there, but we will be moving into the second match between Phantom Memory and Powerpuff Girls. And prior to that, we were just talking about the drafting overall being great through both teams, but in the first match, it was definitely Phantom Memory started to take the lead. The early game was fairly even, and I could see it going both ways, but it rarely leaves it up to debate of who's going to get this game to. Is it going to be Phantom Memory or will Powerpuff Girls be able to get the lead for themselves this time, as they're going to be on the blue side going into this next match? And with that, my name is I Request a Duel, and I'm joined by Endless 55VG.
Yeah, I think the last couple matches I've seen Powerpuffs, they have seemed to be a little more, not as aggressive. So I think if Phantom Memory does recognize that and they pick comps that are more aggressive for them, that would be what they try and go after.
Yep, and with that, I believe if the audio is fixed, then the players are also ready and waiting. So without further ado, we won't keep you waiting any longer. And let's go into the draft for game two between Phantom Memory and Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, we're in the draft immediately right away. We already see a Grace Band followed by the Varia once again. Powerpuff Girls, they just go ahead and follow up and they pick up that Churn Walker right away. We're going to have to see if they, pick more of an aggressive comp. They'll definitely have to play it aggressive. I know they've played some other aggressive comps in the past where, they're a little more, scared, I would say, to go into the enemy jungle. But we'll have to see how the draft ends up. Ringo being picked up on the side of Phantom.
Yep. So we did see that Ringo actually being banned out previously, I believe, by Phantom Memory. It was their second ban. So fairly similar what we're seeing come through here, except the Black Feather pick was first for the Sour Powerpuff Girls when being on the red side. And it means that I could see a Taka ban. I was gonna say I could see a Black Feather ban coming through here, but I think they're leaving it open. It means that now Powerpuff Girls either have to ban it away themselves, and so that Taka ban does make a lot more sense, as the Black Feather could still fall into the hands of Phantom Memory.
Yeah, I'll have to see if Phantom is like trying to go for a sky pick here. Or yeah, Phantom Memory going for the sky. They do go ahead
No.
and ban it away. So uh I, I think an Ardent pickup here would probably be best on the side of Phantom. I think that would just be what we have seen traditionally in the past.
Yep. And with that, it is going to be. They're still thinking on this one, but I was going to say they shouldn't have to think on this one with Black Feather still open on the board,
Right.
especially when you don't want to give Black Feather over to the team comp as Churn Walker. As I said in the previous match, and this is the thing, we'll have to go over some of our topics of discussion we had in that first matchup, just to let the viewers know since they weren't able to hear us. But I was talking about the Churn Walker and the Arden. I would have imagined being better off separated or swapped, I mean, in terms of team comp. However, Phantom Memory did play that aggressive playstyle and it worked out for them in the end. But we will see the Batiste being picked up alongside this Churn Walker, and that could really work out as well in terms of CC and lockdown potential. And the Vox, of course, going to be the laner for the side of Powerpuff Girls. No question, they're very meta for them. And, I think it's just going to be the Arden. Considering Grace's band, I could see Arden being the pickup for the side of Phantom Memory.
Yeah, I feel like Arden has been picked up a lot on the B side, and it's kind of more of just a last, like, yep, this is just who we should pick up at this moment. But the Black Feather Ringo combo, I think, is going to be really strong. And who knows? They could go Fortress here, try to even go more aggression on the side of Phantom Memory. I don't know how well that would work into the Baptiste. And there's the Arden. Let's keep it simple here. But I'm interested to see how this Baptiste does play out in this game.
Yep, definitely the Batiste going to be CP more than likely. I couldn't imagine the Churn Walker CP. I'm not actually sure how that would work out. A CP Churn Walker, would that work more so with the damage you deal through over time with your chains? But that'll have to be a question for another time. as we will see these teams going through with their finalized team comps for Churn Walker, Batiste, and Vox on the side of Powerpuff Girls. And then you had the Ringo Black Feather Arden comp coming through for Phantom Memory. So once again, I'm kind of split as to I think both teams did a good draft, and I'm just going to leave it up to how they play it through. But seeing as Phantom Memory won the previous game, I like the aggression they have, and I wonder if that will either go against them now that they're going up against a Churnwalker, because being up in the enemy's face means it's just that much easier for Churnwalker to land the hooks and chains off. So whether that's going to work in favor or against them is the question there. But we are going into the Halcyon Fold for match 2, and we've got Powerpuff Girls on the blue side and Phantom Memory on the red. What's your call on this one, Endless?
I mean, I think Elijah played so well in the sky in game 1. We talked a lot about whether or not they could hear us or not, but the amount of damage he was putting out, and he was just kind of making all the right plays, and he literally just looked really comfortable in the sky. I'm interested to see how the CP Blackfeather, how he plays it, how aggressive he's willing to be, and again, if he can outplay Retro in the jungle on the Baptiste, I think it'd be a good game for Phantom Memory here. I think their aggression is about the perfect amount of level they need to win the game.
Yep, so this time we do see Saints going up to the lane early. A bit of a different playstyle coming through here from the teams that is, at least if we compare them for the team that had Churnwalker on them previously, being Phantom Memory, they went in for a very aggressive push, and I think that really helped spark the initial lead that they had for themselves. But right now we see that Phantom Memory able to steal away that outer Treant for themselves, so doing some good work there, even though they are a bit behind in this lane farm. Darfrick soon to rotate up and balance that out, but you can see a 3-man rotation up to this lane. They're going to be able to put the pressure down early against this tier 1 turret.
Yeah, there you have a pretty big minion wave being pushed currently. We do see Blackfeather on the way up, so possibly, but the backs are up. Looks like he's going to rotate back to continue farming himself. Darth are just going to continue to clear out the wave here. Saints and Morale, though, they are sticking around. It'll be interesting to see Saints on the Vox, once again, and see how if the build path will be the same. If Saints is just going to go to that traditional, the poison shiv into breaking point type build. Not too much healing necessarily coming on the side of Phantom Memory, though. So we'll have to see what build path that Vox actually goes. But yeah, like you already mentioned once, the Churnwalker. Just if everyone's diving on top of Powerpuff Grillz, that's okay with Churnwalker. He can just get more and more hooks and change. That is not taken. And Motivus does secure the Elder Treant, but if Churnwalker can get a lot of hook and chains down, the Fearsome Shades are going to be huge from Retro. Definitely have to be putting those down perfectly, not in the middle of Elijah using a Rose Offensive to avoid it. But it looks like we maybe see a little engage here.
Yeah, probably just a bit of poke early on as both teams being a bit cautious of the other. And we do see Elijah's trying to go up into that front line. Needs to be careful of the damage coming through from Powerpuff Girls, especially Retrou on that Batiste now. And that's another factor that I didn't really talk about when Phantom Memory, if they decide to try go in on to Powerpuff Girls, they're going to have trouble because they'll get locked down by Batiste. And all the meanwhile, Vox really needs to be the target of choice if they're able to do so. But you see Elijah is actually able to steal away or keep his own medic Treant Bears. And now we see Saints coming through. There's going to be the first blood going over to the side of Powerpuff Girls. And it looks promising for the Phantom Memory at least. But the rotation coming through from Saints really turned that around. Darfrick, instead of deciding to go down as well, has just focused on the lane farm, and it's slightly paid out. He's sitting at 34 farm as opposed to the 27 on Saints, but you can see Saints did catch him out with that vision, and Darfrick now going to be seen and cornered. There's going to be the hook and chains. There's nowhere to escape for him. That's going to be another kill going over to the side of Powerpuff Girls. So definitely a very different start to what we saw in the first match.
Yeah, rotation a little off there. Not probably really expecting to run into a full team from the Powerpuff Grillz, but I'm really interested to see who uses their power spikes into their advantage more. If we see Retro or Elijah, with the Rose Offensive, I think the Fearsome Shade will be important. But if Elijah can use that movement and the dive ability to get on top of the box and really give Saints a hard time in some of these team fights. I think that's going to be extremely crucial here. Darth Rick, of course, going looks like the traditional spell sword, maybe into some tyrants after the next time Darth Rick will have time to shop. I think Ringo does really, benefit off the spell sword, of course, but some people still build a breaking point, but some people like to go the 2 tyrants. I feel like it just really depends on the comp they're up against.
Very interesting placement of the scout traps on the side of Phantom Memory. I believe it's the idea that if Powerpuff Grillz decide to dive them, there will be that extra damage. But right now we do see Black Feather getting dived on, and once again, it's just Powerpuff Grillz with the rotations out-rotating Phantom Memory at this point, always having at least the man advantage and tending to be even more so the free man advantage. And you can see just how easily they take down these singular targets. So I'm struggling to see how Phantom Memory are really going to get a footing in this game.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a chance there for Phantom to be like in team chat or pinging like, hey, they definitely have control of our mustache bush. Do not rotate up right now. You will run into all of them. But Elijah is level 6 now. We're going to see if these Rose offensives are going to be used to his advantage during these team fights. Retro, of course, Fearsome Shade as well. No reflex blocks. This next team fight is going to be huge.
Yep, and we do see the Torment being used to pull Phantom Memory back towards the side of Powerpuff Grillz, and all 3 members of each team up in this lane now. There's going to be the Ordained, and I'm not too sure about that Rose offensive being used to get out of there. He could have stayed around on the edge of it, although those bad mojos coming through are dealing a bit of damage. Saint's going to be dancing around here, doesn't actually have the breaking point yet. I was going to say trying to build up the stacks, but I'm a bit too ahead of myself. I believe just because of Powerpuff Grillz, the way they've been playing this definitely feels a lot more like a mid to late game kind of play style, always sticking together, but it's working out for them, so why not? Saints now trying to look for some damage on this turret alongside Retro, and Morale just sticking around for the hook and chains, but needs to be careful of the passive damage that deals. It will be enough for the turret to target you. Elijah's missing that on point, going to use their second charge on that Rose offensive to get out of there, and they're just poking back and forth. Darth Rick decides to go in with a Hellfire Brew. This could be a chance for Phantom Memory to fight, but they're too afraid right now, or just too behind. I do think that it is the smarter move to not push into this fight. As I said, it can very much backfire when playing against this Churn Walker and Batiste.
Yeah, they're definitely just poking back and forth, trying to decide if they get a big enough wave that they feel comfortable diving this turret. It could happen right here, but it still just looks like they are kind of timid, just maybe trying to focus on the turret and just get it out. And there goes the first turret. But it looks like Darthwick trying to get a little damage down. Not sure we're going to see an engage or not here.
No, it looks like Darth Rick and Elijah's too low at the moment. We'll have to back. At least Elijah's might be able to take his healing camp at the back there, as well as his own backs. We do see the mid being stolen, however, by Retro and the fronts. So that's going to be half of the jungle farm taken away. And after that initial turret, they really are starting to build a gold lead in their favor as well, off the back of that early aggression. And as long as they're able to maintain this lane, and the vision in the jungle is also important, they should be able to go for an early gold miner against the side of Phantom. But we do see Elijah's getting of those broken heart stacks onto Morale. Maybe not the right target you want as down, and just Hellfire Brew. I'm a bit unsure about the use there. It's going to be up in another 65 seconds, so it isn't too long of a cooldown thanks to the Spell Sword, but we will have to see what happens from here.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's a good chance in one of these team fights we're going to see Elijah maybe make all the right moves and hit those on points and make the right decisions to where the team fight could go over to Phantom. I do believe they are behind right now, and this Baptiste is kind of controlling these team fights with the Ordains and definitely giving Elijah a pretty hard time. But we're going to see, if Morale's going to land up some big trespass. I think we're going to engage.
There's going to be the Ordained stuns out. Elijah's on that Black Feather, and you can see Ringo going very low at the start of the fight. Fountain was used, but it's not going to be enough to heal through that as Saints takes them down. And in every way of these fights going, it's going to be in favor of Powerpuff Grillz, as you've got the breaking point on You can see Retro already 8 stacks on that Dragon's Eye. And Churnwalker, he's going to be fine in there as long as he has the hook and chains on the enemy. And really, it is coming down to the fact that I'm struggling to see Phantom Memory making a comeback here. You did mention maybe Elijah is able to make the right plays, but right now, whenever he goes in, you can see him being forced to use that Rose offensive defensively to get out the Ordained
Right.
and away from Retrio.
Yeah, I mean, Darthwick looks like actually maybe going for a breaking point here, which is kind of interesting. Gonna try to use the more of the late or longer team fights, I should say. But yeah, like you said, Elijah is not being able to use Rose offensives to jump on top of Saints. Saints is able to just dance around in most of these team fights and just get that continuous damage off. And unfortunately, Elijah is not being able to truly focus on probably the carry on the side of Powerpuff Grillz. Darthwick, of course. I don't know if the positioning is maybe a little off, is still getting caught, and the hook and chains really is just keeping Darthwick really close to Retro, which is exactly what Baptiste wants. And to be able to get that damage down on Darthwick is definitely important. So we'll just see, if Arden will be able to use these gauntlets in the future in I guess maybe a more aggressive position to get Saints locked up. But the reflex blocks from Saints have been pretty much on point.
Now, one thing I do notice that could be the falling for the side of Powerpuff Girls is morale on this Churnwalker, as opposed to Motivis in the previous game, seems to like to use those torments as soon as he gets the chains off, instead of waiting for the right moments, where we really saw some clutch plays coming out from Motivis in that first match, but he's going to go through with the gauntlet. Talking about clutch plays, stuns out Saints. It could be the fight they're looking for, but there's going to be the fearsome shade blocked out. They're now running for their lives, and it's going to be the turnaround coming through for Powerpuff Girls as they get the trespass off to stun a few of the members, and that's going to be Ringo and Blackfeather falling early. Saints just diving under this turret, trying to get the kill, but instead Arden going to turn around and take out Vox, and now looking to get away from here, as they're probably going to have to give up the tier 2 turret after that one. And still, Powerpuff Girls, although Vox died there, was able to hold this advantage by taking this tier 2. Oh, I might have spoken too soon. They decide to back out. Darth Rick comes along. Cast his curse.
Yeah, interesting not to try to just to pick that turret up. Maybe they just didn't think that the damage. Darthwick, unfortunately, in that last team fight, it just seemed like he was the front line. It looked like he was in front of Motivis. He was in front of Elijah, and Elijah was kind of just sitting back, waiting for the right time. While I just feel like Rick was just kind of in the middle of everything. And I think for this Ringo right now, he needs to find himself maybe a little safer location during these team fights, not to be getting hit in the face by too many bad mojos that have a full 12 Dragon Eye stack. That definitely hurts and does a lot of damage. Motivis definitely has Atlas now. Gonna have to be able to see if he can actually get that off on top of the Vox to try to slow down the attack speed coming out. But we'll have to see if I still think Morale, he's landed some clutch trespasses, and even though he does use, like you said, the Torment a little quick and kind of is trigger happy with it, his trespasses so far in these team fights has been pretty clutch and have won some of them for them.
Here comes Retro with Ordain, manages to stun out Elijah's, but once again, as you mentioned, Duffrick being that front line needs to be careful. Fountain coming through, but it's not going to be enough to keep him alive. Fearsome Shade also went on through, and they're now trying to split away, trying to split that focus, but I don't know what Elijah's is doing. Sticking around, you're just going to get pulled back with that trespass. You need to get out there, or Ordain stunning you up. Fountain going to be used for Powerpuff Girls, and that's a bit of a mistake. Now they're going to get the ace, the tier 2 turret, and the gold mine, really starting to push that gold lead, which I didn't really see as such a problem before. Powerpuff Girls, they had the lead in terms of fights and the way they were playing, but you could really see overall it was in favor of, I guess, yes, it was in favor of Powerpuff Girls, but not so much in terms of gold. And right now, they're getting there with that gold, as we see them sitting at 30.2k over to 25.4. So they've got that about 5k gold lead in their hands now, and it's going to be that much tougher to make a comeback.
Yeah, there's nothing more beautiful than a ordained paired up by a torment pulling someone right out of it to get stunned. It's honestly great team communication and great execution of that little comp there. But we're gonna have to see. It seems like Powerpuff Girls, these fights are going more and more into their way, and everything is just happening perfectly for them. If Phantom can pick a right fight here in the next the next minute or whenever the next fight occurs, Kraken will be coming up, and maybe they could start to swing it more in their momentum. But right now, Saints and Retro, they're just doing a lot of great damage. They're, all the abilities between the team of Powerpuff Girls are really on sync right now. So it'll just be interesting to see if Deathrick, instead of being that front line, getting Fearsome Shade into a wall and then actually blown up, can maybe be that back line and try to get some stacks on top of Morale instead of trying to focus too much on getting on top of Saints.
Yep, I totally agree with you there. In terms of from the start of the game, what we've been seeing, it definitely feels like Powerpuff Girls are that much more, I guess, working together, a bit more fluid. And we do see Retro caught out on his own, but he's holding his ground. Fearsome Shade used does get blocked out. The Fountain going to be used on both teams there, I believe. And they're going to go through. Vox picking up the kill onto Ringo, chasing down Elijah's. Will he have the damage to do so? But no, it looks like they're going to be able to escape there for now. However, it just shows that Powerpuff Girls, even with Retro being caught out on their own in that gauntlet, able to turn it around.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many Crucibles need to be bought right now on the side of Team Phantom, because when we're seeing a Fearsome Shade, we have that Echo on Morale, so a double Trespass right now. We're having a lot of ultimates that are landing without the ability to be blocked up, and that's really, I feel like, what's the struggle on the side of Phantom. There's a lot of CC affecting them. They're not able to stay safe for longer than, I would say, 15, 20 seconds in some of these team fights. So Morale has been pretty patient on some of these echoes and when to use that second trespass, especially when he thinks the other team is maybe starting to get a little bit of advantage. Let's just throw out that other trespass when no one has any reflex box left, and definitely give Powerpuff Girls the advantage once again. So we're going to have to see if I obviously we have two, the ages on both carries. If they're going to be able to use that, actually, there's a lot of damage right now on top of Morale.
Ooh, okay, there's going to be a trespass as Morale trying to get out of there. And once again, Hellfire Brew being used onto Morale. They might have thought they could confirm the kill, but would have been better off saved for Saints. There's going to be Saints jumping into the fight. Retro actually picking up that kill, and Movis jumping in there alone. Elijah's, you need to run away from this fight. There's going to be the trespass stunning them out, and I'm really not too sure about the thinking there. Saints just able to stay alive through that. Oh, 16 stacks on that breaking point, and we can't forget the kills going over to Retro. And this is the thing. At the start of the game, I believe Vox was the target you needed to take out, but right now, Retro on that Batiste is just as much of a powerhouse and just as much of a threat you need to worry about. And it's kind of too late for them, as we do see Powerpuff Girls taking that Kraken. And this game very much so being a turnaround to what we saw last time, with Powerpuff Girls now holding that advantage. And they seem just that much more comfortable. I'm not sure if it's their team comp or they're just comfortable being playing with that aggressive upper hand.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like pick your poison. Would you rather deal with a fully 12 stack Dragon's Eye or Saints, getting those breaking point stacks higher and higher? I feel like it's rough when you try to focus one of them down when the other one is just left alive to get their stacks so high and just put out a mass amount of damage. Here comes another Hellfire Brew just to kind of maybe zone them away, but the push is on. We're going to have to see if it's going to be a successful push all the way maybe to a win. It depends if they win a team fight here.
Well, they get the Anchor Tower. There's going to be the Ordained, and it's going to force out the Rose Offensive, and there's going to be the block coming through onto the Fearsome Shade, but with ultimates down, this could be a chance for Phantom to come back, but Arden already falling. Darfrick, it's on his shoulders to really put some damage down onto Saints, but you're fighting with someone who's going to be getting those stacks a lot quicker than you are at the moment, and it looks like Elijah's trying to hold on to this turret isn't going to be enough. Is going to be able to pick up the kill onto Morale, and Darfrick, he just needs to find the kills here, needs to get the ace and the turnaround, but can he do it alone? No, Saints going to take the double kill home, the ace and the win for round 2 as another 3 seconds until Arden is up, but he definitely won't have the damage to stop this one. And once again, it's the blue side that wins. So maybe we'll see in the next match, Phantom Memory could come through with a win. But for now, it is Powerpuff Girls taking the second game, Phantom Memory with the first. and well played to both teams.
Yeah, it almost seemed like Darthrick was just really uncomfortable on the Ringo, wasn't able to get in the right position, and didn't really know who to focus on. 7-0, 8-1, both carries from the side of Powerpuff Girls did an excellent job that game. And honestly, morale, I would have to say that the trespasses and the perfect torments, I think he definitely was MVP and set up a lot of great plays for his team in that last match.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think there's a very good point of comparison between these teams because we did see the Churn Walker on both teams before and kind of being that engage point for a lot of them. And this time we saw a bit more of a comp that you would expect to see alongside the Churn Walker, and it worked out fantastically for them. You see the T7-0-9 didn't even die once, and even Vox, that one death that he has to his name, 8-1-8, was when he decided to dive turret just to push the Ringo back, I believe it was. Or maybe it was pushing someone back so they could get that tier 2 turret. And this time, I think that it worked out a lot better for them. We could even see a Churn Walker ban could be a possibility.
I would hope so. It's not necessarily guaranteed, but Churn Walker is 2-0 right now, so we'll have to see if teams are like, yeah, we're just done dealing with the Churn Walker. Grace is still really strong though, so we've seen sometimes teams they try to focus on banning away some of those top captains, but I believe we are getting into this next draft as soon as everyone has joined in.
Yeah, we will just wait for the teams to join in here. Once again, Phantom Memory this time going to be on the blue side and Powerpuff Girls over on the red for this third matchup. And it's 1-1. Both teams showing their strengths here. I see Phantom Memory able to play aggressive with whatever team comp they're given. Just however, in this the second match situation, that was kind of their fault. Where they faltered, because I did mention that playing into that Churn Walker Batiste is going to be very dangerous if you want to play an aggressive comp. So with that, draft has started, so let's see what the teams decide to do here. Is it going to be similar bans and picks as we have seen? I believe the Grace into Vaya ban being the first two bans coming out.
Yeah, that's what it has been the last couple games. Maybe teams will just go really off the wall and just leave the Varia out to be picked up, but I really doubt we're going to see that happen. I would like to see the Churn Walker ban. There it is. Let's just not deal with the Churn Walker in this game 3. Chat, we do have a game 3, so I hope everyone is hyped for a nice game 3 here for this Phantom versus Powerpuff Girls. But the first Churn Walker build, the first Churn Walker ban, do we need to see a Grace ban here, or?
Well, it is the question. If you let Grace through, I could see Phantom Memory picking up, but you said that Vaya is just so important, so OP to be precise, that it has to be the Vaya ban in my eyes, and that is going to be the call for Powerpuff Girls. And now, I wouldn't be surprised still if Grace goes first. It is right through for the side of Phantom Memory. And now, in answer to that, Black Feather's still on the table, but they could also decide to pick their laner of choice. We know Vox is their laner of choice for them, but they are going to go for the Black Feather, which they did the same in the first matchup. So the only difference we're seeing here to the first game draft is the Churn Walker and Grace being swapped around from where they were. The Sky Band coming through once again. It hurts my heart to say, but is definitely a good call there, as we saw in the first matchup where Phantom Memory, I believe is Elijah, got a hold of that Sky, was doing a lot of work on her, and we will have to see now how Phantom Memory decide to respond to this. They could go for a targeted ban as well, ban out that Vox, but what do you think it'll be?
I think the Vox would be a good choice here to ban away. I'm trying to decide if we're going to see maybe a Rona pickup on the side of Powerpuff Girls if we can, if the Rona isn't picked up or banned by the time it gets there. But I think a Rona Grace can be really strong together. So it'll be interesting to see if Arden, okay, they go ahead and decide to ban away another captain, maybe put them a little in an uncomfortable place when it comes to captains on the side of Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, the Arden ban. I'm not too sure about that. I understand where you're coming from, where you said that they are trying to limit the captains available for the side of Powerpuff Girls. But if we look at who's still out there, I mean, we could see possibly the Catherine come through. The Lyra is going to be more than likely the Roma for the side of Powerpuff Girls. And I'm a bit uncertain here. They left the Vox open. Do you think Phantom Memory would be the ones to steal that one away? I mean, we also have Baron, which was played in the first match, on the table for them.
Yeah, I'm still kind of surprised we haven't seen a Rona. If we don't see one come through in this game, we haven't really been seeing it banned or picked. And there is the
Ah,
Rona.
yes, Endless. Thank you. Rona, some tasty gameplay coming our way. I think it was already very exciting, the matches we've had with Churnwalker, the aggression we've been seeing coming out. But Phantom Memory, look at this team comp. It's triple melee, although you could count the bad mojos as a bit of range there. However, for the most part, it's going to be a very dangerous comp to deal with. The CC coming through, the aggression coming through. I really like what I'm seeing here. And I think they should be able to burst through the healing that Lyra provides for that team, whereas they also have their own healing to back up with the divine intervention off the back of Grace. Should be very helpful for, I believe, Rona, since she should be that front line, that bruiser. And then it's going to be up to Batista, Lambo, or Danes to really lock them down and help pick up those kills. However, you are dealing with a Black Feather. He is able to use the Rose offensive, as we saw previously, to get out of those ordained. However, it does limit him in that sense that he doesn't have that engage potential. So I'm a bit uncertain for what Powerpuff Girls are going to answer to this. I mean, Vox was the obvious answer in terms of comfort picks by the looks of it, but do you see anything different coming through?
I mean, if we think about all the melee, they could throw a Rhyme in the jungle here and have this Rhyme try to deal with. The Rhyme comes through with a lot of fortified health, loves when people are grouped up on top of them. So, I mean, if they can play a Rhyme, they're going to stick with what they know. Saints has been playing Vox extremely well. So put the Black Feather in the jungle and let's just put that Vox back in the lane.
Yep, and the Vox pickup. It was expected from them. However, if it's going to be the right pickup is the question, because so far I've said both teams through the first two matches did the draft fairly even. But looking at this draft, I'm just feeling that much more inclined to say Phantom Memory have the upper hand.
Yeah, we'll have to see, if Saints plays this Vox just as well as we've seen in the last games. 3 games on Vox, back to back, 2 back. It's going to be interesting to see. And then once again, we look at the other side. This Baptiste was really strong in the last game. We'll have to see if Elijah will be, just as strong on this Baptiste in this game.
Yep, we will have to see as we load into the Halcyon Fold for Game 3 between Phantom Memory and Powerpuff Grillz. We do have Grace, Rona, Batiste on the side of Phantom Memory going up against the Vox, Lyra, Black Feather team comp, and that will be Movis, Dark Rick, Elijah's playing on Phantom Memory going up against Saints Morale, Retrell. And no on the side of Powerpuff Girls, so no swaps for no substitutes yet. So it seems that we are going to see a fairly even game and can be based off what we saw in the first game, Phantom Memory playing this one aggressively and going all 3 members to this outer triamp, whether Morale can steal it on their own. They put down the sigil. I don't think it was there in time, and it is going to go over to the side of Phantom Memory.
Yeah, we're going to see the. I guess I do like the rotation that they decided just to rotate straight to that Elder Tree, and they just want to pick it up and secure it. But if we see this rotation here from Powerpuff Girls, trying to put a little pressure on top, but they are going to continue to secure their jungle here. Darth Rick is clearly farming up and trying to push the lane. Saints is going to have maybe a little trouble here, but hopefully Morale will be able to come up and heal and keep Saints alive, as Darthwick is, trying to be as aggressive as possible. I think if they can mimic what they did in game 1 and have that type of aggression and play as confident as they did, I think they can definitely play into their win conditions for this game 3.
Yeah, you can see on the first wave there, Darfrick actually using early minion candy to help push that a bit more. And as you said, if they play it the same way they played game one, they really have the chance to win this out early on, or just have a smooth ride towards the end. And I think that it could work out for them in the case that they have the Grace picked up. And Grace is similar to Churnwalker in terms of aggression, being a very aggressive roamer for that matter. And then Rona still managing to hold on fairly well on their own in this lane, seeing at 16 CS. But Saints, you mentioned playing this Vox fairly well, is able to keep up with that, matching that CS at the moment.
Yeah, I really think we're just gonna see Saints go into a similar build later on to this game, and I think if Saints can just, actually a lot of damage, but the heal's gonna come through.
Yeah, Motivist manages to get up to the lane in time, managing to push that Black Feather back, and Black Feather now going to decide to go back to base, and Darfrick, I believe, using the potion there to heal back up, and now it's actually in favor of Phantom Memory as they put a lot of damage down onto Saints, and Saints doesn't have the potion, but he does have a Lyra, just waiting for that Imperial Sigil to be up, but it's not up for another 3 seconds. Is he going to stick around? Probably will, as we do see Retro also moving up to the lane, but there's going to be most going in with the Benediction. First blood. Grace doesn't need any help with that one. They're just going to take that away on their own. And that is the aggression I was talking about, being able to come through with the Grace pickup.
Yeah, the Grace can just dive in and just really make Saints a little uncomfortable, and hopefully that's what Motivist will be able to do throughout some of these team fights. There's no Arden on the full this game, so there's gonna be no those big gauntlets we kind of been seeing the last couple of matches. So if Darthrick kind of just has free reign, obviously the bulwark from Morale can be a little troubling, but really if Darthrick can just get on top of Saints and just put out some of that huge burst damage, we're gonna see the ultimate from Darthrick. Spend to win, the red mist, I have a feeling is going to be huge in this match. But we see the Fountain come on the side of Motivist already, but Morale, he went the Crucible. He's going to go with those Imperial Sigils to be his main source of healing.
Yep, and after the Fountain pickup, we now see the Dragon's Eye onto that Batiste. And we talked about into the late game just how much of, threat that Batiste can become by Gamebo's Dragon's Eye stacked up, and having that tankiness to help keep him alive in the fight. It's going to be something to worry about, and I'm sure that Darthrick might even decide to go for Breaking Point themselves at some time. They haven't actually gone back to shop yet. I just looked at their gold, sitting at 3,386, and we do see the Vox has back to go and get that, or actually went down to Jungle Shop to get the Poison Shift. Did find himself in a bit of trouble with Elijah's, but Retro there to help him out. And let's see if Phantom Memory decide to turn this one around, but might need to be cautious as Darthrick still hasn't shopped, and they will be able to do so just now. Serpent's Mask first buy makes sense, followed by the Travel Boots, making sure you can stick to your enemy that much more. And it's just going to be about that in terms of that team comp that they have built up for them. A lot of CC in terms of slows, Benediction, the Into the Fray, and we do see Into the Fray being used onto Saints. A lot of damage coming through, and the Imperial Sigil being popped kind of early. This is something that I worry about with Morale. They seem, you mentioned it before, seem a bit trigger happy with their abilities and don't use them to the full extent, but we will see it used there as a speed boost to get onto Darthrick.
Yeah, I think Motivist may have just used his boots, thought about engaging there, but decided to pull back. It's going to be interesting to see how these power spikes come through. The Aftershock on Retro, I don't know if the Elijah's Dragon Eye is going to be more powerful. If he gets some stacks quickly, he could be doing a lot of damage in these early, pre-8 minutes, pre-8 level power spike team fights. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
You can see Elijah's taking a fair bit of damage there, needs to be careful himself before Gamebo stacks up, but holding on to them fairly well, already seeing at 6, especially with the Dragon's Eye changes that make it a lot easier to hold on to those stacks. It helps out with a hero like Batiste, who doesn't always have that bad mojo up, and so it's going to be coming through every now and then. And right now, both teams just poking back and forth. It looks like that Phantom Memory have the pressure in lane, at least, but whether they're going to decide to choose to move that into the jungle since they've got this lane pushed up is the question, or are they going to dive right under turret? A bit of an unexpected play as they're going to use the fearsome shade to push them off that tier 1. They managed to take it, divine intervention, healing Darfrick back up, and that's just aggression scaring off Powerpuff Grillz right now. And I mentioned it before, Powerpuff Grillz, it might just be that they play more comfortably when they have the upper hand, and while playing on the back foot, they really struggle to find any way to turn this around. And same could be said for Phantom Memory, as we saw in the second game.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point. But then again, it's just if we see Darthrick, obviously I've always enjoyed watching Rona in some of these matches. Rona has been a big difference in some of these teams. Some teams play well into a Rona, but I think if Rona just gets maybe that late game and just finally we'll maybe see Saints have a more difficult game in some of these team fights. But I think once Morale gets this fountain picked up, I think we have that that second extra round of healing will be huge. We're going to see them actually all rotate up to the lane here and maybe start to try to push. We're going to see if Elijah is going to rotate up to try to defend their turret here.
Yeah, even without Elijah, you can see just Powerpuff Grillz playing a bit passive for now. There's going to be the Ordained stunning out Saints, and they're going to go in on the back of it. There's going to be the wait for it, but it does not stop the aggression coming through from the side of Phantom Memory. You can see the Batiste picking up the kill onto Box. Retro running the other way, trying to escape, but Elijah's chasing him down, might be able to catch him out in their own jungle, and meanwhile, Morale managed to get out there with an Arcane Passage, so it looks like Morale safe for now. Retro not out of the fight just yet as Elijah chasing them to the grave indeed. There's going to be the Ordained misses on that bad mojo, but here comes the Crystal Sentry, not even needed. And Elijah's picking that up on his own. As we mentioned, Elijah's is, not Elijah's so much, but Batiste. That hero is something to be cautious about into the late game with those Dragon's Eye stacks being boosted along with the clockwork. I mentioned how already at early stage in the game, Batiste is able to hold on to those stacks, but is going to be able to do it that much better as soon as he gets the clockwork and have that much more CC in his kit. But we see Retro already back in the fight, jumping onto Rona. They're going low at the start. Fountain was used, and this could be the turnaround Powerpuff Grillz are looking for. There's going to be the fearsome shade, does get blocked out for the most part, and Elijah's trying to run away. Divine intervention should be enough to turn this fire around. The damage coming through on those bad mojos, doesn't quite hit, however, and you can see Movis with the rotations very onto it, making sure Box doesn't get ahead of himself, but Elijah's still sticking around for this team fight, and the damage coming through. And you mentioned it before, a 12 stack Dragon Eye Batiste, really something to be afraid of.
Yeah, I just don't know if Darthrick was like, oh, my team's right behind me, let's team fight, because he was just trying to take on all three members, and Elijah was like, okay, I'm slow, wait for me, I can't get up there right now to team fight, but wait a minute, I think we're seeing engage right now.
There's going to be fearsome shade, and Saints getting caught out, and it's going to be Grace picking up that kill. No ounce of damage on them, but they do have the retribution coming through, and they're going to focus onto the Crystal Sentry now, and meanwhile, Darthrick focusing onto that tier 2 turret, although Lyra trying to get these minions out of here. Is she going to get in time? Darthrick sticking around, might be able to get before the shield's up, and they do just in time, pushing their advantage even more, seeing at 24.9k gold over to 18.5, and that's soon going to be changed, as it looks like they should be able to pick up a gold miner, but is there going to be a contest here as Powerpuff Grillz spying it out. There's going to be the Imperial Sigil popped a bit early, but come on, Retro, you're going to jump in there or not? Nope, it's going to be over to the side of Phantom. They managed to get it, and they're going low, at least onto Elijah's. They managed to stun out the Black Feather, and Rona picks up a kill. Elijah's gets out there with his life, but Saints stacking up those breaking points could be dangerous for them. As long as Elijah sticks around, they might be able to turn it, and they get the kill.
Look at the hell.
The ace. And Phantom Memory just playing that so clean, so clutch, making all the right moves there to stay alive. That could have as easily gone over to the side of Powerpuff Grillz.
I mean, I'm just surprised with Saints having basically a free wait for it every team fight. There's no reflex. That silence is never being blocked up, but I haven't really seen it make a difference yet. In the beginning of that last team fight, I thought it was going to, but unfortunately, we saw that just the damage was too much, and we saw Phantom Memory still actually win that series out. It was really, really close. Actually, we're going to see Powerpuff Grillz have a little aggression here. We're going to see Fearsome Shade, though, comes out.
Yep, you can see Phantom Memory deciding to back off from this fight, picking up a weapon power infusion onto that Rona. Rona going in deep alone. This could be a bit of a mistake, as it looks like Elijah's nowhere near to help, but Rona almost taking down Morale, is going to dodge out, but wait for it, but now caught up in the middle of this team fight. What's going to go down? Movis trying to get in there with a Holy Nova, doesn't find the knock-up, and you can see Rona just pushing on through, gets the Black Feather, gets the box! Oh my lord, 20 breaking point stacks. Are they going to follow through with this portal? It looks like they will. Elijah's going to try and catch out Morale, but they should be able to get back to base in time, and they managed to do so, denying the ace, and now leaving Phantom Memory stuck inside their base. Elijah's, however, doesn't mind at all. He's going to let the rest of his team push onto that anchor turret, just buying some time for them, and they will get it. However, it might cost his life. Motivus going to back out there. Darfrick will have the into the fray to get out of the fray and should make it back to base. So in the end, it is a winning situation for Phantom Memory off a very extended team fight.
Yeah, Motivus is still being excellent captain. Darthrick is just really diving in and putting himself in a bad position, but Motivus has that Echo. Double Divine Intervention right now is huge. It is keeping this Rona alive for so long. It's got to be, almost depressing on the side of Powerpuff Grillz to get that Rona so low just to see that Divine Intervention come through and heal that Rona back up. But it definitely was a very, very big engage on the side of Phantom Memory. They do get the choke point turret down, though. We're going to have to see if Darthrick continues. The boots, obviously, he has those boots up so often. He's able to use them, a couple times in a team fight to just continue to jump and get back on top of Saints. Saints is looking a little more uncomfortable this game on this box than we have seen in some of the past games. And they're going to have to see how these next team fights go.
There's going to be Movis jumping right in. The Holy Nova does get blocked out, but you can see Saints is definitely the target of choice for Phantom as they pick him up with ease. And Retro now stuck in there. Massive damage coming through from Elijah's on that Batiste, and they managed to pick up the kill. I believe there's over 1,000 there. And something else that is over 1,000, in fact over 10,000, is the gold lead in favor of Phantom Memory, seeing at 35k over to the 24.4k. They pick up that sentry, they eliminate that sentry, and they're going for the gold miner. Kraken isn't even up on the board, and Phantom Memory have this much control. Now, when we look at that first match we had between these two teams, it was more or less even, but slightly in the lead of Phantom Memory. Then we had a game that was very much so in favor of Powerpuff Grillz, and now we're back on the opposite end of the spectrum where Phantom Memory just playing so well. And I think it comes down to these teams. They rarely play well with getting these snowballs and these leads, playing off the back of their aggression early on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just starting to think that these Baptistes are being the major difference in some of these team fights. Their rotation right now is a little reversed. We're going to try to see them push the lane here and try to force Powerpuff Grillz to rotate back up. But Baptiste has been making big difference in all of these games, and Baptiste is just, I think, one of these top tier junglers right now.
Holy Nova knocking up the Vox and Black Feather. They're going to go in, wait for it goes through, and now it doesn't even get blocked out, as you mentioned, but it does not stop the push coming through from Phantom Memory at all. Darfrick finds the Lyra, now following through onto Saints, and I'm not sure, can Saints steal this one out 1v1? He has the breaking point stacks, and it looks like Rona actually getting pushed back through that portal. Meanwhile, the rest of the team trying to chase down that Black Feather. Saints might be up to win this one, and he's going to have to kite back, get out the red mist, but if Rona manages to find the... Oh, it's so close. One more auto. Saints does not get out in time. And Grace picking up the A's for Phantom Memory. Everyone on the team putting in effort for this match. I don't think it's just for Batiste. I think Batiste is a big part of that comp working out, but Phantom Memory, you gotta give it to them. Everyone on the team playing that part, doing this so well, and really just dominating this game. They don't need to go for kills now. They could just finish it out and go for turrets.
Yeah, it looks like Lyra was trying to hold the minions up near the base to try to prolong their ability to push these turrets down, which it kind of did work because they only are able to get the one, and they're going to back out here. Looks like Morale may try to get a little cheeky portal, but deciding not to. We're going to see Phantom. Kraken is up, so possible fight. Another team fight ace would obviously give them the chances to push to win. So maybe try to get a Kraken just to, you know, secure the win, I guess. But I don't really think they need to worry about Kraken. I think they should just try to force another team fight, since all these team fights have been going pretty well in their favor.
Yeah, you can see Elijah's just farming up to get enough for that infusion. They're making absolutely sure that they're going to win this next team fight. However, I do worry the longer this match goes on, if it goes on longer than this team fight, it could be a chance for Powerpuff Grillz to come back. But you already see Saints low on energy, isn't going to be able to jump his way out of there, but he's managing to do something, staying alive. Retro is now in the middle of the fight, does use one of his charges on that Rose offensive, does get caught out. However, Dafric now jumping in with into the fray onto Morale. Red Mist picks up the double kill for themselves, and this is going to be the game, chunking through the shield on that turret. Not much Vox can do on his own, but is he able to come through with the clutch triple? We'll have to see. Divine Intervention onto Dafric, keeping them alive, and they're just going to go through for the ace, but he manages to get back into that base there, just kiting away, and he cannot stop the inevitable as Phantom Memory going to take game 3, 18-2. GG, well played there, and very exciting to be casting for that Rona pick that you mentioned in the draft phase. You got it on point, and I'm glad you did, because I don't think it would have been as exciting if we hadn't had this kind of team comp lined up for us.
Yeah, no, Darthric, I mean, did struggle on that Ringo in the last game, so I'm definitely excited to see him get on that Rona and play the way, play the way he did. It was definitely a lot stronger this game, and like you said, it was a definite team effort from the side of Phantom Memory. They kind of went back to that game one. They went back to those win conditions and how they needed to play. So good for them for not getting, a little shaken up after, Powerpuff Grillz was able to take that game 2, but it was an exciting best of 3. I'm glad your first match with us was able to be a best of 3, an intense match. I'm glad we got all the, the audio issues worked out, and you guys are actually able